Hey everyone. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. Please smash that subscribe button and help our unveiled family reach our goal. Thanks to everyone who has already subscribed. We love you. Now to the video.
I matched with this guy because his profile said he worked at the theme park just outside town, and I thought that was kinda cool. His name was Luke. He said he could take me there for free one day and we could go on all the rides. I joked that I'd believe it when I see it, but he said he was serious and asked if I wanted to go that night. At first I laughed because I thought theme parks close at like 8 or something, but he said he had keys and he could get us in after hours. I should have said no, but the idea sounded kinda exciting. A whole theme park just for us? I felt like this could be one of those once-in-a-lifetime stories I'd tell everyone later. So I agreed. He told me to meet him at the side gate near the loading area where staff enter. Even writing that now sounds like a horror movie setup, but back then I just thought, wow, he's actually doing this for me. When I got there, the whole place was dark except a few emergency lights glowing near the main rides. The giant roller coaster towered over everything, just a black shape against the sky. Luke waved me over from behind a small building. He looked nervous and excited at the same time. He said he hoped I wasn't scared of theme parks at night. I told him I wasn't scared of anything, which was the biggest lie I've ever said. We walked inside through a side door and suddenly we were in the staff area. Lockers. Uniforms hanging. A map of the park pinned on a wall. Everything silent. He led me to the main walkway, and when I saw all the rides dark and still, it felt like walking through a graveyard. He told me he just needed to turn some power on to show me something cool. Then he unlocked a little booth and flicked a switch. Lights came on in sections, flickering like they were waking up from a bad dream. The music didn't start, thank God, but the glowing lights around the rides made everything feel even creepier. We walked past the carousel. It was still. Horses frozen mid-gallop. I tried to act normal, but every shadow looked like it was watching. Luke said he wanted to show me the roller coaster first because it's his favorite. When we got to the operator booth, he pressed a button without hesitation. The chain lift suddenly clanked to life like it was being dragged awake. We watched the empty train climb up the track slowly before dropping into the darkness. I jumped when I heard the rushing metal. It rattled like something was wrong. Luke laughed, saying it always sounds weird when no one's on it. I forced a laugh back, but deep down I regretted everything already. Then I noticed something. The ride didn't stop. It kept going. Again and again. No one pressing anything. No one adjusting controls. It shouldn't do that. I told Luke as much, and he said the system must have auto-cycled. His voice sounded shaky. We walked a bit more and I saw the spinning ride at the far side start to move by itself. The seats swung wildly like someone invisible had climbed into them. A kiddie ride with boats started moving too, circling the fake pond. None of the machines looked controlled. They looked like they were waking up angry. The Ferris wheel lights came on next. First one spoke. Then another. Then the wheel creaked and started turning slow. Luke didn't touch anything that time. He wasn't even near controls. He stared at it with wide eyes like it surprised him too. I asked him if this was safe. He didn't answer me. He stared toward the loudspeakers hanging off the poles. I followed his gaze. They crackled with static like someone was about to speak. My name came through them. Not Luke's voice. Not anybody I recognized. It was distorted. Shaky. Terrified. It repeated my name again like it was calling for help. Then the voice said, "Please run." Over and over again. Begging. Desperate. And then it said, "He's lying." I spun toward Luke and he stepped back, hands up like he didn't want me to accuse him of anything. His mouth opened and closed like he wanted to say something but couldn't choose the right words. His face suddenly looked different. Less trustworthy. More pale. More scared. I didn't know if the voice was warning me or tricking me. I told Luke we needed to go. He nodded but stayed frozen, staring at the speaker like if he looked away something would come out of it. Suddenly the roller coaster brakes slammed shut loudly. That metallic screech made me jump. Then the carousel lights flickered rapidly and one of the horses jerked like it wanted to break free. The giant drop tower started rising without anything attached. The rides all moved at once like the whole place was alive. The voice came through the loudspeaker again, panicking, saying this isn't him. Please run. Run now. I didn't think. I grabbed Luke's hand and dragged him toward the exit path. He didn't fight me. He just stumbled behind me like he was trying not to fall. The ground lights flickered under our feet. Music suddenly blared from somewhere, a broken version of the park theme, slowed down and warped like a nightmare version. The Ferris wheel spun faster. Empty seats clattered in the wind. One of them snapped off and smashed into the ground behind us. Luke screamed. I didn't dare turn around. As we ran past the kiddie rides, the boat ride splashed wildly like something was thrashing inside the water. Voices whispered from the speakers now, hundreds of them overlapping. Crying. Begging. Screaming. Some laughed like children and that was somehow more horrible. Finally we reached the staff gate but when I tried to open it, it was locked. Luke cursed under his breath and started patting his pockets, looking for keys he must have dropped. I banged on the door like someone would hear us in the middle of the night. The speakers crackled again. The same desperate voice. Louder now. Saying he's here. Don't let him touch you. Run before he stops you too. Run. I asked Luke who that was. He just shook his head so fast like he couldn't let himself speak. He finally found the keys and shoved one in the lock with shaking hands. The second the gate swung open, we bolted through and ran down the road without looking back. When we finally stopped, out of breath, Luke said he needed to explain something. I told him no, I didn't want to know what that place was hiding. I walked away and didn't look back at him once. Blocked him before he could send anything. Deleted the app again. But sometimes late at night, when I'm trying to sleep, I swear I hear faint carnival music coming through my window. And I remember the voice begging me to run. And I wonder if it ever got out. Or if it's still trapped there. Waiting for the next person to arrive after closing.
I met this girl because I was bored and tired of all the tiny conversations that go nowhere. Her name on the app was May. Simple. Her bio said she was into movies and late-night chats. That sounded perfect to me. We messaged for a bit and she was actually interesting, not like the ones who reply once and vanish. She laughed at my jokes. Asked me questions that made me want to answer properly. She wasn't fake nice either. She had this weird, dark sense of humor that made me like her more. She invited me over to watch a movie because she said cinemas were annoying and she liked being comfortable at home. I thought sure, why not? She said she lived alone so I didn't have to worry about awkward roommate introductions. I put on a hoodie and headed over, thinking this would be chill. Her place looked normal from the outside. A regular house on a quiet street. Lights on in the living room. Door opened before I even knocked like she had been standing right behind it. She smiled quick like she was relieved I showed up. She smelled like peppermint gum. She told me to take my shoes off and make myself at home. She kept saying home like she wanted me to feel like I belonged there already. The inside was clean but not in a perfect way. Just normal. There was a big mirror hanging in the hallway right opposite the living room entrance. Like a decoration piece. I glanced at it for a second and saw my reflection look nervous as hell. May noticed and said don't worry, she talks to that mirror all the time. I laughed thinking she was joking but she didn't laugh back. The living room had blankets thrown over the couch like she always watched movies there. Popcorn bowl already out. She picked a random film and sat next to me super close like we knew each other longer than an hour. Everything seemed fine until halfway through the movie when she paused it and mumbled something quietly while looking toward the hallway. I thought she was talking to me, but she didn't look at me. She kept staring at that mirror. I asked who she was talking to. She shook her head and said nobody, then smiled like she realized she slipped up. I tried joking that maybe she wasn't as alone as she said. She said she is alone but not lonely. I didn't get what she meant, so I just nodded like I did. 10 minutes later, she paused the movie again. She leaned back and looked toward the mirror, whispering something too soft to hear. Then she tilted her head like she was listening to someone. I asked if she needed the bathroom or something. She turned to me quick and said she was fine, but her eyes were slightly wide, like she'd been caught doing something she wasn't supposed to. I kept telling myself it was just nerves. Maybe she was shy. Maybe she talks to herself when she's anxious. Lots of people do that. I tried not to stare at the mirror because I didn't want to seem rude. But every time we stopped talking, she looked at it again. I finally asked if she was sure she lived alone. She nodded fast. Too fast. She said, yeah, they aren't real anyway. I froze for a second and then laughed because I hoped she was joking. She didn't look like she was joking. She smiled, but her eyes didn't. I told her I needed the bathroom and she pointed toward the hallway. I walked out and the mirror was right there. Big, tall, almost floor to ceiling. I could see my whole body in it. I looked stupid standing there staring at my reflection like some ghost would pop out. I went into the bathroom and washed my face because I felt tense suddenly, like something was watching me. When I opened the door, May was in the living room talking again. Louder this time, like she wasn't trying to hide it anymore. I took one slow step toward the mirror because something about it kept pulling my focus. My reflection looked normal, but the lighting felt off. The hallway behind me looked darker in the mirror than in real life. I leaned closer to check. I placed my finger on the glass, and instead of seeing my fingertip touch itself perfectly, there was space. In a normal mirror, your finger touches its reflection exactly. But here, my finger didn't meet the reflection. It stopped before touching anything. Like the glass wasn't reflecting me but showing something behind it. Like there was depth. My stomach dropped so fast I nearly ran back to the living room right then. But I forced myself to look behind the mirror. There was a tiny gap between the frame and the wall. Not much, but enough to let me see that it wasn't a mirror at all. It was a window. A two-way window. I leaned slightly and squinted to see through the small opening. I wish I didn't. Because behind that glass was a room. Dark but not empty. There were shelves, boxes, and a man standing almost pressed to the glass, holding a camera pointed at me. He didn't move. Didn't step back. He just stood there full height like he'd been recording us the entire time. His eyes wide open. No blinking. It felt like he'd been waiting for me to notice him. I jumped so hard the mirror rattled on the wall. I stepped back shaking and May appeared behind me immediately like she had been waiting for my reaction. She looked at me with this calm, creepy smile and whispered that he gets upset when I ignore him. She said we should go back to the movie before he gets jealous. She spoke like this was normal. Like having a man spying behind her hallway was normal. I told her I needed to leave. She placed her hand on my arm and squeezed hard without looking angry. She said they liked me. She said they'd been excited for someone new. She called them roommates with a tiny laugh like she thought that was funny. She said they know everything now. Everything about me. I told her I wasn't staying. I shoved past her and rushed to the front door. My shoes were still off, but I didn't care. The door wasn't locked, thankfully, and I threw myself outside like I'd just escaped underwater and needed air. I didn't look back even once. I heard her voice call my name like I left too early, like she was disappointed. Like she expected me to stay for them. By the time I got home, I blocked her, deleted the app, deleted every message. I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw that guy's face behind the glass not blinking. Like he was still staring. Still recording. Sometimes I swear my hallway mirror looks darker than before. And every night I tap the surface just to make sure it's really a mirror. And every night I hold my breath and wait for a reaction. Because what scares me the most isn't that he was watching then. It's that he might still be watching now.
I only changed into this outfit because I thought it looked cute and I didn't want to show up looking like I didn't try. Gray cropped jumper, black jeans, white trainers. Simple. Normal. Not too much. My friends said I overthink everything and should just enjoy meeting someone new. So when this guy called Ellis messaged me on the app, I said yes to a date pretty quick. He seemed like the kind of guy your mom would like. Clean haircut. quiet smile. He talked like every word had a purpose. He suggested dessert instead of drinks. Said he knew a place that makes the best brownies. I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds sweet, literally. He picked me up in an Uber instead of driving. He said he doesn't like cars because they trap you with strangers. Ironic as hell in hindsight. He was polite though. Asked if I was cold. Opened doors for me. Walked on the side of the pavement nearest the cars like those TikTok gentlemen. I honestly thought, wow, maybe I finally picked someone normal. After dessert, he asked if I wanted to see his place. He said he had something cool he wanted to show me. I don't know why, but the way he said it made my heart beat a bit faster. I said yes because it didn't feel like a danger moment. He didn't stare at me weird. He didn't rush. He kept talking like nothing changed. The walk wasn't far. His house looked neat. One of those small new builds with lights still on inside. No creepy vibe yet. When he unlocked the door, he said, "Sorry, it's a bit messy." It was the cleanest place I've ever been in. No dust. No jackets thrown around. Nothing out of place. There was even a candle burning that smelled like vanilla. He asked me to take my shoes off, so I did, thinking maybe he's just strict about cleanliness. We sat on his couch and talked more. He told me he collects memories. I laughed because who doesn't? But he said no, he collects them in a special way. He told me he wanted to show me and asked if I trusted him. I said yeah. I don't know why I didn't lie. He stood up and told me to follow him to the hallway near the stairs. The light in that part of the house was dimmer. Yellow and soft. The hallway wall was covered in framed photos, all perfectly straight and evenly spaced. At first it just looked like a family gallery. Until I got closer. None of the photos had family. Every single picture was of Ellis. Always standing in the middle. Always with a girl next to him. Different girls in every one. Some smiling. Some looking uncomfortable. Different backgrounds too. Restaurants. Parks. Living rooms. But it wasn't the girls that made my skin crawl. It was their clothes. Every girl in every photo was wearing an outfit that matched the exact outfit I was wearing right then. Same gray cropped jumper. Same black jeans. Same white trainers. Not similar. Exactly the same. I could see the rip on the left knee of the jeans that I bought online last week. I could see the tiny stain near the cuff of one jumper in one of the pictures. A stain I noticed earlier today and tried to scrub off. It was there. On her. On me. In the picture. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I pretended for 1 second that my brain was lying. I leaned closer hoping I was seeing wrong. But the details were too sharp. Too real. Every girl dressed like me. Standing next to him. Different dates. Different hairstyles. Different faces. But the clothes always the same. Alice stood slightly behind me watching my reaction. He said he loves remembering the best moments with the people he cares about. He said he always keeps one wall for those memories. His voice sounded proud. Like this was totally normal. My throat felt tight. I asked how he got those outfits. He said he has good taste. He said some moments deserve repetition. Then he smiled at me like this was romantic and not absolutely insane. I noticed something even worse. Under each photo, tiny engraved metal plates were stuck to the frame. Names. Dates. All different names except his. Different dates for each girl. I scanned fast. 6 months ago. Last year. 2 years ago. Always spaced apart. Always a different girl wearing the same clothes I picked out that morning. I felt like I was falling even though my feet were on the ground. Then I saw the empty space. Closer to my hip level. A spot with no frame yet. Just a label already stuck to the wall. My name. And the date. Today. I stepped back so fast I hit the opposite wall. Alice stepped forward slower like he knew I'd do that. He said he's been excited about this for a long time. He said he wants to remember tonight forever. He said I looked perfect exactly how he imagined. I wanted to run but my legs felt locked to the floor. He raised his phone like he was about to take a picture. He said just one for the wall. One to make it complete. One to add me to his memories. I forced myself to move. I ducked under his arm and ran into the living room. Door. I needed the door. I grabbed my trainers on the way because they were right there by the wall. I shoved my feet into them half wrong, but I didn't care. I sprinted to the front door and twisted the lock. It stuck at first like he prepared it that way, but then it clicked. I pulled and stumbled outside. I didn't look back. I ran down the street without breathing properly. I could hear my heartbeat louder than my footsteps. I didn't care if anyone saw me. Didn't care if I fell. I just needed distance from him and his wall and all those girls who dressed like me before today. I blocked his number and deleted the app the second I got home. I stared at my jumper on the floor like it was some cursed object. I threw it in the bin. Same with the jeans. Same with the trainers. I don't ever want to see that outfit again. But sometimes I wonder, what happened to the girls in those photos? Why their faces looked so stiff? Why some looked scared? Why some weren't smiling at all? And the worst part, did they ever get to take their clothes off after their picture was taken? Or did he keep them exactly the way he wanted to remember them?
I swear I only agreed to go because I didn't want to look scared. Everyone always tells you not to go to someone's house the first time you meet them, but then everyone breaks that rule anyway. I matched with this girl called Ivy. She was cute in a weird artsy way. Hair dyed silver, hoodie too big for her, selfies with that serious face like she's thinking about life all the time. She asked me to come over pretty quickly. She said her roommates were chill and probably asleep upstairs so we'd have privacy to talk. She said she was tired of loud bars and crowded places. I kinda liked the idea of something low effort. Just sit and talk. Get to know each other. Maybe watch a movie. I figured what's the worst that could happen. When I got to her street, her house looked old but cozy. Warm porch light. Windows glowing soft yellow. There were shoes scattered near the front door inside that looked like different styles. Like 3 or 4 people lived there for real. Backpacks hanging on wall hooks. Jackets piled up. Exactly what you'd expect from a house full of young people sharing rent. Ivy opened the door fast like she'd been waiting right behind it. She smiled huge and said I was right on time. She dragged me in and shut the door quickly behind us. I joked asking if she was trying to keep the heat in or something. She just said she didn't want to wake the others. She pointed at the ceiling and whispered that everyone was sleeping upstairs already. The living room was nice. Small couch. Coffee table with random mugs on it. TV playing something paused. Ivy told me to sit and make myself comfortable. She kept glancing toward the stairs like someone would pop out if we were too loud. I wasn't even talking that much yet. We sat kinda close watching a show and laughing a bit. It actually felt normal. She kept telling me little things about her day like she was happy to finally talk to someone who listens. She asked me about my family, school, who my best friends are. Regular stuff. Nothing weird yet. I asked if her roommates were chill about strangers coming over late. She nodded fast, almost too fast. She said they like meeting new people but they were tired today so they wouldn't come down. She kept looking toward the stairs again. At first I didn't notice how much she was checking up there. Every 5 seconds. Like she was waiting for a signal. After a while, she said I should wash my hands because we were eating snacks. I said sure and asked where the bathroom was. She pointed to a small door next to the kitchen and said go ahead. She'd set everything up. She reminded me again not to be loud. Like whispering level quiet. I walked to the bathroom and flipped on the light. That's when the first weird thing hit me. Toothbrushes. A whole cup full of them. At least 5. All different colors. Some worn out like people use them every day. But the room didn't look used in any other way. Mirror spotless. No hair in the sink. No towels hanging except a tiny clean one. Like the brushes were props. Like nothing else belonged to real people. I opened the cabinet. Empty. Weirdly empty. No shaving creams. No skincare. No painkillers. Nothing anyone who actually lives there would keep. Just shelves. I thought maybe the other roommates kept their stuff in their rooms, but I noticed something else weird when I stepped out into the hallway. More shoes by the stairs. 3 pairs. All different sizes. Like 2 women and a guy maybe. But the shoes were perfectly lined up. No dirt. No wear. Like they'd never been outside. I looked at the stairs. Lights were off upstairs. Totally dark. But something was off about the structure. You know how you can kind of feel a house's breath when people live upstairs? Footsteps. Creaks. Low noises. There was nothing. Like the whole top floor didn't exist. Complete silence. Not even pipes. I whispered up the staircase, hello, just messing around. No response. No noise at all. So sharp and quiet that I suddenly felt stupid for talking like that. I took a few steps up because curiosity is dumb and loud in the brain. I figured maybe I'd hear something once I got closer. But when I reached the landing, I froze. Instead of bedroom doors, the walls were bricked up. Literally bricks covering the entire upstairs hallway. No doors. No rooms. Just solid walls like someone sealed everything shut. I backed up slowly. Every hair on my neck stood up. I stared at the bricks trying to process how Ivy could have roommates sleeping behind literal walls. I whispered out loud accidentally, what is this? She appeared right behind me. I swear I didn't hear her come up. She asked what I was doing. Her voice wasn't angry, but it had this softness that felt wrong. Too calm. Like she wasn't surprised I found it. I pointed at the bricks and said I thought the bedrooms were up here. She smiled. Not normal. Slow. Stretch. She said they like their privacy. She said they don't like being watched. She stepped closer to me and whispered that her roommates see everything anyway. She said even now they were awake and watching us. She said they love when new people visit. I tried to laugh it off because this was getting creepy fast. I said it's kinda impossible for anyone to be up there since it's literally blocked. She tilted her head and said blocks don't stop watching. She said they watch from inside the walls. I didn't know what that meant and I didn't want to ask. I told her I needed the bathroom again just to get away from her. She smiled bigger and pointed back downstairs like she already knew I would say that. I walked fast, heart pounding. I didn't go to the bathroom. I went to the front door. When I grabbed the handle, she called out to me from the stairs, calm as anything. She said I shouldn't leave without saying goodnight to them. I ignored her and pulled the door. It didn't move. Locked. No obvious lock though. Like it was sealed shut the same way the rooms upstairs were. I kept yanking as quietly as I could, but it didn't budge. She came closer and said they're excited for me. That they haven't had someone new in a long time. She said they get lonely. The way she said it made my stomach twist into something sharp. I looked around the room and realized everything that looked normal was too perfect. The jackets hung like store displays. The backpacks were all empty. The shoes were positioned like decoration. Every room we'd been in felt staged. Like a movie set. Like no one actually lives here. Not her. Not anyone. I forced myself not to panic. I told myself there must be another way out. Maybe a back door in the kitchen. I ran into the kitchen without waiting for her reaction. There was a door. I ran to it and pulled, and this time it opened so fast I almost fell outside. I didn't turn around. I didn't grab my jacket. I just sprinted down the yard and vaulted the side gate into the street. I didn't look back at the house until I reached the corner. Ivy was standing in the doorway watching me. No anger. Just that same smile. Like she wasn't scared of me leaving. Like she already knew I would come back. She messaged me once after I blocked her everywhere else. The text said, "The roommates loved you. They can't wait to watch you again." Then a second one right after. "Look behind your walls and wave back. I still can't sleep in silence. I keep imagining someone bricked in behind my own ceiling. Listening. Waiting."
I wasn't even planning to meet anyone that weekend. I was bored on my bed scrolling the app, just matching with randoms for entertainment. Then I saw this guy called Cal. He wasn't trying too hard to look cool or mysterious. Just a normal smile. Gray hoodie. Curly hair. Nothing flashy. I liked that right away. He messaged me first, saying he liked how real I looked. That honestly made me blush a little more than it should have. We talked all night. Not the boring kind of chat either. He asked about stuff that actually mattered. What kind of family I have. Who I trust. If I ever wished I could start my life over. Deep questions, but he didn't seem creepy. He just seemed interested. Then he asked if I wanted to meet the next day. I said yes without thinking too much because I was actually excited. We picked this outdoor market area near the river. So many lights and food stalls and people walking around eating churros or whatever. When I first saw him walking toward me, I thought, wow, pictures didn't lie for once. He was exactly how he looked. Same hair. Same smile. Like someone you'd instantly relax around. But the first weird thing he said was that he didn't want any photos. I laughed because who brings that up before we even take any? He just said cameras make him uncomfortable. He said he hates how everything ends up online forever. Fair point, right? A lot of people feel like that. Not that strange. So I just told him fine, no photos. We grabbed noodles from a food stand and walked along the river talking about everything. He asked about what I want to do after college, if I ever missed being younger, all these questions that made me feel like he actually wanted to know me. One thing though, every person we passed, he looked at them first. Like he needed to check their face before they even noticed him. I ended up ignoring that, telling myself he might be anxious or something. We sat on a bench by the water. The sky was dark, but the city lights reflected on the river, making it look almost fake. He kept his hood up like he was hiding his hair from the wind, but it wasn't even windy. He asked if I ever posted about dates online. I said usually I take a selfie or something, but nothing crazy. His face changed quick. He told me not to do that tonight. He said it again like he really meant it. I nodded, but inside I was thinking it wasn't that serious. After a while, he said he was going to grab more drinks from a stall and told me to wait. While he walked away, I looked at him from behind. Something about the way he walked felt strange. Like too careful. Like he didn't want to be noticed by anyone around. I pulled out my phone without thinking. I wasn't even planning to share it. I just wanted one picture so I could remember the night. I zoomed in on him from behind while he ordered drinks. Took one photo. That's it. I didn't even show his face. In the picture you could just see his back, his hoodie, the lights above him. I looked at it for like 3 seconds, then locked my phone. I felt guilty for a second, but I told myself he wouldn't find out. He came back with drinks and I could see he was more relaxed than earlier. Like he trusted me. And now I felt even more guilty. But whatever, a tiny photo wouldn't hurt anything, right? We kept talking and laughing and I actually forgot about the photo. Until my phone started buzzing. One notification. Then another. Then another. Multiple messages from random people. I thought maybe someone posted in a group chat or something weird was going on with my phone. I opened the first one. Who is that in your picture? I frowned. Second message. Delete that now. Third. How did you find him? Fourth. Please tell me you didn't meet him in person. It didn't make sense until I saw what photo they were talking about. My tiny sneaky picture. And now comments were piling up on it. I didn't even post it myself. Somehow, the app uploaded it as a story. I swear I didn't click anything. My phone was in my pocket. I scrolled the comments fast. People panicking. Typing like they were scared. He's gone. He died. He died 3 years ago. That's not possible. Take it down before he sees. My heart started beating so loud it drowned out everything else. I locked my phone fast and tried to act normal. But I kept looking at Cal's same hoodie. Same hair as the blurry picture. Same exact one. I asked him if he ever had someone use his photos before. Like a scammer or something. He just stared at me confused. I didn't know how to bring up the messages without sounding crazy. I asked if anyone had ever mistaken him for someone else. He looked away toward the river, like he was thinking hard, then said I shouldn't talk about him like that. Him who? I didn't ask. My phone vibrated again. My screen lit up and his face suddenly went cold as he saw all the notifications popping up. I could tell he knew they were about him. I tried hiding the screen but too late. He asked if I took a photo of him. His voice wasn't soft anymore. It sounded like he already knew the answer. I said no, but my voice cracked. He stood up. Didn't say a single word. Just stared down at me with this look like he was disappointed more than angry. Like I had ruined something important. Then he started walking away. The same careful walk. Like he didn't want anyone around him to notice what he really was. I watched him disappear into the crowd. I was too scared to go after him. I unlocked my phone and forced myself to scroll again. New messages. Do not meet him again. He shouldn't be here. He was buried. Run. And one more that made my whole body freeze. Check the news from November 2019. You'll see his picture. He didn't survive. I searched his name. I didn't want to, but I had to know. It was the same face. Same smile. Even the same hoodie. The article said he drowned. The funeral photo was him. And the comments below it were people saying goodbye. I deleted the app so fast my hands shook. But even now, every so often, I'll get a notification from an unknown account. Are you with him? Did he find you? Is he alive? I haven't posted a picture since.
I only matched with this girl because she looked fun, like the type of person who actually goes outside instead of staying home scrolling all day. Her name was Kira. Bright smile, pink streak in her hair, tons of photos with people at parties. She messaged me first saying she liked my jacket and I looked like someone she'd want to meet. She asked what I was doing that night and I literally had no plans, so when she said there's a party and I should come with her, I just said yeah, why not? I know it sounds dumb going to some random party on the first date, but she seemed confident, like she already decided we were going. She didn't ask my real name either. She just kept calling me Jay because that's my username. I thought it was funny she never asked, but I didn't care enough to bring it up. She picked me up in this small black car that smelled like cherry air freshener mixed with perfume. Music blasting, her singing loud, acting like we've been friends for years. I was laughing along, but inside I was kinda nervous. I never go to house parties where I don't know anyone. Traffic lights kept flashing across her face, and every time one hit her eyes they looked like she was concentrating way too hard on something. We drove out of town a bit into some area with bigger houses spaced out, barely any street lights, trees everywhere. The house she stopped at was huge. Like way too nice for people our age. All the windows were glowing blue and purple like some club, and you could already hear people inside cheering and shouting. I joked asking whose birthday it was and she just smiled without answering. As soon as we walked up the driveway, I noticed something off. People near the porch stopped talking when they saw me. They stared like they were confused at first, and then their faces changed into excitement. Kira squeezed my arm like she was proud of me or something. Inside it was packed. Music way too loud. Fake fog in the air. Everyone holding drinks. But the weird part was how many people were watching me instead of having fun. Like I was the main attraction. I asked Kira if she told them I was coming and she just nodded like obviously. I didn't remember her mentioning anything like that. She pulled me deeper inside, through a hallway covered in some kind of decorations that looked handmade like symbols drawn with black paint. I didn't know if it was a theme or some weird art project. Everyone we passed stared at me the same way, their eyes wide, their mouths shifting into smiles way too slowly. I kept telling myself it was nothing. Maybe they all stare at anyone who walks in. Maybe they stare because they think I'm cute or something. Stupid thoughts like that just to stop myself from freaking out. Kira led me into a huge living room where there was a space cleared in the middle like a dance circle, except nobody was dancing. They were all just standing around drinking and staring straight at me, like they had been waiting. Then someone shouted something. I didn't catch the first part, just my name. My real name. Not Jay. Not the username. My actual name that I never put anywhere on the app. I froze. I looked at Kira and she looked back at me with this calm face like she expected that reaction. Then more voices joined, chanting, saying my name slow but loud, over and over again, like they were practicing for a show. I whispered to Kira asking how they knew me. She just said they always knew I'd come back. I swear I thought she was joking. But then someone stepped forward holding a framed photo. I almost puked when I saw it. It was a picture of me, younger. Shaved head because my parents thought it was cool at the time. Wearing a shirt I haven't owned since primary school. It wasn't a screenshot or a social media photo. It was one of those printed pictures you find in family photo albums. The kind that only lives inside your house. My heart started pounding so fast I could barely breathe. I told Kira I wanted to leave. She acted like she didn't hear me. She just held my hand tighter and guided me toward a table where there were candles and more photos of me at different ages. Me learning how to ride a bike. Me blowing out candles. Me with a gap-toothed smile. Pictures I haven't even read since I was a kid. Someone from the crowd stepped forward. Tall guy with a painted symbol across his forehead. He said, "Welcome home." Like this was where I belonged. Like I had lived here before. The chanting got louder, faster, matching the beat of the music like they were sinking to my heart, trying to burst out my chest. I pushed away from Kira and stumbled back. That's when I noticed the staircase behind the living room. More people up there looking down at me. And in the very middle, at the top of the stairs, someone who looked exactly like me. Same face. Same hair. Same jacket. Like a clone wearing my life. He stared at me with no expression. Like he didn't need one. Like he owned the entire moment. The chanting stopped completely. Every single person turned to look at him. Kira let go of me and walked toward the stairs like she was walking to a king. My double stepped down one step at a time, his eyes never leaving mine. I couldn't move. He got to the bottom step and smiled like he had read my soul. The room felt too small all of a sudden. Like the walls tilted forward. Kira looked between us like she was comparing who was real. Or maybe deciding which one she actually wanted. The clone raised his arm and pointed right at me. Everyone gasped in unison. Then they started saying something else. Same rhythm. Different words. Welcoming him. Calling him the real one. Saying I was early. That I wasn't meant to arrive yet. I knew I had to run. I turned and shoved through people, knocking drinks out of their hands, ignoring how they reached for me. Someone grabbed my sleeve and ripped it off, but I kept going. The door was near the entrance and I didn't wait to unlock it. I threw myself against it and it burst open like even the house wanted me gone. I sprinted into the dark street. I didn't look back. I could still hear chanting fading behind me like a nightmare echo. Kira didn't text. No one messaged. I deleted the app before I even got home. But sometimes, at random times like when I'm brushing my teeth or unlocking my own door, I swear I hear someone chanting softly from somewhere behind me.
I matched with this guy called Mason mostly because he had cool tattoos and he wasn't doing that stupid gym mirror pose that every dude loves. He messaged me first saying he liked my hair and that I seemed like someone who didn't waste time. I don't know why, but that line kinda worked. I was bored, lying in bed procrastinating everything in my life, and he was actually replying fast. So we planned to meet the next day after college. He said he wanted to show me something he's been working on. Said he's an artist. I thought that sounded sick. I pictured some messy room with bright paint everywhere and maybe a cat walking around with different colors on its fur. We met in the town center. He looked taller than in his photos, and honestly a bit older too, but not like old. He dressed all in black and had this chill voice that made everything sound like a joke. At first he was normal. He asked about college, what subjects I like, usual boring stuff. He walked like he had a destination in mind but didn't say where we were going until we reached this neighborhood that didn't even look like a neighborhood. More like a row of old factory buildings turned into random stuff. None of them had signs. Some had windows blocked up. Some had garage doors with peeling paint. He stops at one that has one of those keypads on the side. He types a code, the door unlocks with a loud buzz, and he tells me this is his studio. He's smiling like he's proud. I step inside expecting it to smell like paint or something creative. Instead, it smells like a house that's been locked up too long. Stale. Cold. His footsteps echoed on the concrete floor. The only light came from a few lamps he flicked on one by one. The place was huge but empty except for a section with canvases leaning against the walls. I tried to act relaxed even though my brain was already like, wow, this is already a bad idea. There was no music, no windows except high tiny ones, and not a single brush or cup of dirty paint water lying around. Just the paintings. He said he wanted me to see his work before anyone else. That he's been building towards this moment. That part gave me goosebumps, but I played it cool. At first I thought the paintings were random bedrooms and random places someone might live. The brush strokes were perfect though. Not like those weird abstract shapes everyone pretends to understand. These looked like photos. I walked closer and my heart kinda flipped because one of the bedrooms looked exactly like my old room. Like back when I was in year 7. The exact pink walls. The exact cheap white drawers my mom bought from a shop that doesn't exist anymore. The same posters that I ripped down years ago. I even recognized this ugly pillow I used to sleep with that had a stain I always tried to hide. It was all there. I stood there staring, thinking maybe I was imagining it. He said it was his favorite piece. I asked him how he did it. He just smiled like he was proud of himself. He didn't answer the real question though. He didn't ask how I knew that room. He didn't look surprised either. I moved to the next one. It was me. In my school uniform. Not just any random uniform either. My exact one with the navy jumper that used to scratch my neck. And my shoes. And the annoying ID badge with my terrible photo. It was me walking out of the school gates holding my phone with the cracked screen. It was me from year 10. I recognized everything. My chest suddenly felt tight. I tried laughing it off like some weird universe coincidence, but my mouth felt dry. I didn't want to turn around to look at him, but I could feel his eyes watching every tiny reaction I had. I told him it was weird how similar it all looked. He said it should be perfect. His voice went quieter when he said that. Next painting. It was me sleeping. Same current hair, same pajamas. The exact duvet I have right now. My bedside table with the little lamp I always knock over. It looked like someone stood in my room late at night taking pictures of me without waking me up. I touched the edge of the frame because I felt dizzy and needed to balance myself. He whispered that he stays up all night working. He said that's when the best reference pictures are taken. I didn't even want to know what that meant. I stepped back and almost tripped over something. It was another canvas facing the wall. He didn't try to stop me when I grabbed it. He just watched like he had been waiting for that part. I turned it around and I swear my stomach dropped so fast I nearly puked on the floor. It was me again. But not asleep. Not walking. Not smiling. Dead. Eyes open but empty. My head tilted the same exact way I was sitting right then in his studio. One arm hanging to the side. Blood dripping from the corner of my mouth. My clothes were what I wore that exact day. My hair in the same ponytail. Even the small scratch on my knee from slipping on the pavement earlier was there. Every inch of it was exactly how I looked right then. The background was this studio. Same walls. Same lamplight. It was me. Dead. Right there. I dropped the canvas and it clattered against the concrete. He didn't even flinch at the noise. He just took a slow step toward me, like he'd practiced this moment. He said he wanted to paint every part of my story. Past. Present. And what comes next? My body reacted before my brain. I backed up until I hit another painting behind me. My hands were shaking and he noticed. He kept stepping closer. He said I should sit still for a bit longer because the final touches were always the most important. I didn't answer. I was trying not to stop breathing. The exit door was on the opposite side of the room. Far. No windows low enough to reach. Just that one keypad door we came through. He must have seen my eyes looking toward it because he smiled again. Like he already planned what I'd try to do. He said not to make this difficult. That the best artworks always have a calm ending. I don't even remember how I moved so fast, but I sprinted right past him before he could grab me. The lamps shook like they were going to fall. He came after me, but I slammed my whole body into the door before the keypad locked again. It burst open for a second and I squeezed through, scraping my arm on the metal. I didn't stop running until I hit the street where real people were walking around like nothing was wrong. I never read any more of his messages after that. Didn't tell anyone from college what happened. I can't even sit the same way I did in that painting without thinking of what he saw in his head. I deleted the app. Deleted everything. But sometimes when I wake up, I swear I feel like someone is still painting me.
I swear this all started because I was bored on a Thursday night and thought matching with someone new would be better than scrolling through the same old videos again. I wasn't even planning to meet anyone. But this girl called Layla messages me saying she likes my hoodie and thinks I look like someone who actually touches grass once in a while. I didn't even think twice before saying yeah, let's meet. That's how dumb I was. I didn't even do the usual checking her socials or anything. Just saw she was cute and her bio didn't look like some scammer. That was enough for me. We decided to meet at this little coffee place near where I live. The plan was to just grab a drink and talk for like an hour. But she straight up suggests going back to her flat after 10 minutes. Like she barely sipped her iced latte. She wasn't acting weird yet, just constantly glancing behind me like there was someone walking past or something. I kept turning around but no one was there. It wasn't a busy evening either. The place had like 4 other people and they were just typing on laptops. I tried to ignore it because I thought maybe she was shy or anxious. She told me she left something cooking at her place and we should walk back so it doesn't burn. I know. That sounds like the oldest trick ever, but honestly I thought she was just excited to hang out more. She was smiling at me the whole way, but every few steps she'd peek over my shoulder. Not at me. Literally behind me. And then she'd quickly look ahead again like she didn't want to make it obvious. I just laughed it off and asked if she was expecting someone to jump out and scare us. She didn't laugh though. She just said she doesn't like people standing behind her. Kinda relatable, so I let it slide. Her place was on the ground floor of this newish block. You know, the ones where all the flats look the same and the hallways smell like nothing. She opened the door and I was hit with this really sweet smell like candy or something. Not bad. Just strong. The living room was tidy but weirdly minimal. Couch, TV, a lamp that was turned way down. No photos of family. No decorations. It felt like a show home more than a place someone actually lives in. She closed the curtains fast, like she didn't want anyone looking in. Then she kept staring at the back of my head again. Proper staring now. I tried sitting down on the couch, but she grabbed my arm and said let's go to the kitchen because that's where the food was. So I followed. She kept me walking in front of her every time we moved anywhere. She'd place her hand on my back like she was guiding me. I joked again saying she must be worried I'll break something if I walk first, but she just smiled, still not laughing. Her eyes flicking to the same spot behind me over and over. She poured me a drink and told me she needed to use the bathroom. Then she stops before walking away and tells me not to turn around too fast. I laughed because what do you even reply to that? But she looked serious. She repeated it slower. Don't turn around too fast. I asked her why. She said she hates sudden movements behind her. Then she left the door open as she went into the corridor but disappeared into one of the rooms. I was sitting there alone trying to ignore the weird vibe. There was a TV remote next to me, so I picked it up and turned the TV on just to have noise. The screen stayed black at first. Then suddenly a picture appeared. It wasn't Netflix or something. It looked like a live stream. It took me a second to realize what I was seeing. The screen showed the back of my head. Right at that moment. Same hoodie. Same kitchen. Same exact position. It was so clear. Someone was behind me with a camera pointed right at me. The angle was from slightly above, like they were taller or on something. I froze. I didn't move a muscle because I was scared whoever was holding that camera would notice. My heart was banging loud enough in my ears I thought they could hear it. I slowly looked at the reflection of the built-in microwave to kinda see behind me without turning around. I couldn't see anyone, but the TV was showing someone filming me from behind. I started thinking maybe it was a recording from earlier or some prank she planned. Then the camera on the TV zoomed in. Closer. Closer. I still didn't move. Whoever it was behind me was inching forward. I could see a shadow shifting on the tiles from under the fridge door reflection. I whispered Layla's name quietly, but she didn't answer. The live stream had this tiny timestamp in the corner. It matched the exact time. It was happening right then. I forced myself to turn my head just a little bit, just to check. Nothing behind me. Empty. But the screen showed a hand holding the phone inching toward me, like they were centimeters from touching me. I could see a thumb with chipped black nail polish. It wasn't Layla's. Hers were perfectly done. I scanned the kitchen again, trying not to look scared. There was no door open. No window big enough for someone to hide behind. No place for a tall person to be. Then the bathroom door clicked open on the far side of the hallway. I focused on that and waited to see her. But the person who stepped out was not Layla. It was some guy. Tall. Pale face. But up. Eyes staring straight at me. He wasn't holding the camera anymore. His hands were empty at his sides. I felt my stomach drop because if he wasn't holding the camera, then someone else was. I could still see the live stream on the TV. The person filming was still behind me. That meant there were two people in the flat with me. One behind me and one walking toward me. I didn't think. I just ran. I launched forward so fast the chair scraped the floor like a scream. I didn't look behind me. I didn't turn to see the guy. I just sprinted to the front door, hoping it wasn't locked. It was. But the lock was one of those easy ones, and I fumbled with it like a crazy person until it finally clicked open. I didn't stop running until I reached the main road. I blocked her on everything that second. I didn't message anyone about what happened. I didn't go to the police or anything. Every time I think about it, I feel sick. All I keep thinking is they probably watched me sit there like an idiot. I still don't understand where that second person was hiding. And the way she kept checking behind me the whole night. She knew. She was making sure they were close enough. I'm done with those apps. I swear if I see someone even glance behind me once, I'm leaving straight away.